The canyon was a jagged scar in the earth, invisible to the satellite grid thanks to the heavy mineral deposits in the rock walls that scattered radar waves. It should have been a grave. It was a desert, utterly devoid of natural water sources or arable land. Yet, as Paul stepped out of the tent he had stitched together from scavenged parachutes, he smelled something impossible. He smelled bread. "It's on the dew again," Sarah called out. She was kneeling near a cluster of sagebrush, gathering small, white, wafer-like substances into a woven basket. Paul walked over, his boots crunching on the red dirt. He looked at the camp. It wasn't just him and Sarah anymore. Over the last year, thousands had trickled in. Refugees who had cut their trackers and fled the smart cities just before the oath was enforced. They were men, women, and children of every race, united by a single, desperate refusal to bow. They should have starved 6 months ago. Paul picked up one of the wafers. It was warm to the touch. It tasted like honey and coriander. The nutritional analysis Marcus ran on the old scanner. "It doesn't make sense," Paul said, taking a bite. "It contains every vitamin, every protein we need. It's perfectly engineered sustenance." "It's not engineered, Paul," Sarah smiled, her face tanned and healthy. "It's created. Daily bread." She pointed to the rock face at the back of the canyon. "And the water?" Paul nodded. He walked to the fissure in the stone. A year ago, it had been dry as a bone. Now, a steady, crystal-clear spring gushed from the rock, filling the clay cisterns they had built. It flowed day and night, defying the hydrogeological maps of the region. "We are in Goshen," Paul whispered, referencing the ancient Hebrew sanctuary in Egypt. "While the world burns, we eat." 300 miles south in the gleaming metropolis of Sector 7, there was no bread. There were only credits, and there were sores. Regent Kael, the governor of Region 3, stood before the mirror in his penthouse suite. The room was a marvel of luxury: automated climate control, holographic art, and a view of the rebuilt skyline. But Kael wasn't looking at the view. He was looking at his right hand. It started as an itch right under the skin where the digital tattoo of the oath had been applied. Then it became a blister. Now it was an open, weeping ulcer. The flesh around the mark was necrotic, turning a violent shade of purple. It smelled of rot. "Medical!" Kael shouted at the room's AI. "Administer pain suppression! Dosage maximum!" "I am sorry, Regent," the soothing voice of the AI replied. "Your biological readings indicate a systemic rejection of the dermal interface. Previous dosages have proven ineffective. This anomaly is affecting 88% of the population. The medical algorithms are unable to identify the pathogen." Kael screamed, smashing a crystal vase against the wall. The pain was excruciating, a noisome and grievous burning that felt like acid in his veins. He stumbled to the window. Below him, the streets of Sector 7 were chaotic. Ambulances hovered in gridlock. People were collapsing on the sidewalks, clawing at their foreheads and hands. The beautiful transhumanist utopia, promised by the Pope and the charismatic leader, had turned into a leper colony. His comms link buzzed. It was the false prophet, broadcasting from Rome. "Regent Kael," the leader's voice was tight, devoid of its usual charm. "The report indicates the infection is spreading." "It's the nanotech in the mark," Kael accused, clutching his throbbing hand. "It's defective. You poisoned us." "The technology is perfect," the prophet snapped. "The flaw is spiritual. It is a psychic attack. The haters in the wilderness, their negative vibrations are disrupting the harmonic resonance of the oath. They are cursing us, Kael." "Then wipe them out," Kael roared. "Send the drones! Send the legions!" "We have sent them," the prophet said, his voice dropping to a whisper. "But the drones, they do not return." Back in the canyon, The sun was high and fierce. Paul was teaching a group of children how to filter sand when the sentry whistle blew. "Patrol!" a lookout shouted from the ridge. "Ground units! Sector 3 markings!" The camp didn't panic. Over the last year, they had learned that fear was a wasted emotion. Paul grabbed his staff. He no longer carried a rifle. He and Sarah ran to the canyon entrance. A squad of 10 Unity peacekeepers had breached the perimeter. They were driving hover skiffs, weapons mounted and charged. But they weren't attacking. They were crashing. One of the skiffs veered wildly into a canyon wall, crumpling on impact. The pilot fell out, writhing in the dust. The other soldiers dismounted, stumbling. They were fully armored, their faces hidden behind visors, but their movements were erratic, jerky. "Halt!" the squad leader screamed, aiming his pulse rifle at Paul. "By order of the 10 regions, surrender! Surrender!" His voice cracked. He dropped to one knee, dropping the weapon to clutch at his chest plate. Paul walked forward, hands open. "We have no weapons to surrender. We only have the word." "You did this," the soldier wheezed. He ripped his helmet off. Sarah gasped. The soldier's face was a ruin. A massive, festering sore covered his forehead, right where the allegiance implant sat. Pus and blood ran down into his eyes. He looked like a man decomposing while still alive. "Help me," the soldier moaned, the aggression draining out of him, replaced by sheer agony. "It burns. It never stops burning." Sarah stepped forward, her nurse's instinct kicking in. She reached for her water flask. "I can clean the wound." "Don't touch him, Sarah," Paul warned gently. "It's the mark. It's the first bowl." Sarah hesitated. She poured water onto a cloth and tossed it to the soldier. "Wipe your face. Drink." The soldier grabbed the cloth. He scrubbed at the sore, screaming as the water touched it. "It boils!" he shrieked, throwing the cloth away. "Your water is fire! Witchcraft! You poisoned the water!" "The water is pure," Paul said sadly. "It is your covenant that is poison." The other soldiers were groaning, rolling in the dirt. The technology that was supposed to make them gods, the interface with the AI, was now torturing them. Every time the system tried to update or sync with them, the sores flared. "Turn back," Paul commanded, his voice echoing off the canyon walls. "Go back to your cities. There is no relief for you here. The separation is final." The squad leader looked at Paul, healthy, strong, untouched by the plague. Then he looked at his own rotting hand. Hate flared in his eyes. "We will come back," the soldier spat, blood drooling from his lip. "When the leader finishes the calibration, we will bring the fire. We will burn this canyon to glass." "You can try," Paul said, "but you are fighting the Almighty." The soldiers dragged themselves back to the remaining skiffs. It took them 10 minutes just to mount up, their bodies racked with pain. They retreated in a cloud of dust, a broken, defeated mess. That night, the camp gathered around the fire. The mood was solemn. They had seen the face of the judgment, and it was terrifying. "Why them and not us?" a young man asked Paul. "I was almost one of them. I almost took the oath." "Grace," Paul said, staring into the flames. "Not merit, grace." Sarah sat beside him, looking up at the stars. The constellations seemed brighter out here, far away from the light pollution of the smart cities. "They blamed us," Sarah whispered. "Did you hear him? He said we poisoned the water." "They will blame us for everything," Paul said. "When the sea turns to blood, when the sun scorches them, they won't repent. They will just hate us more. That is the tragedy of the tribulation. Suffering doesn't save you if your heart is hard." He took a piece of the manna bread and broke it. "But we are safe," Paul said. Look around. Not one sore, not one fever. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him. He looked at the thousands of faces glowing in the firelight, the remnant. Eat, Paul said. Rest. Tomorrow brings its own trouble, but tonight we are held. High above the canyon, invisible to the human eye, the atmospheric shield of the camp shimmered, a barrier not of technology, but of spirit, deflecting the signals of the beast and the gaze of the enemy.